Thank you for watching. On my first podcast, we featured a mother extremely distraught because she had lost her child to alcohol and drug abuse. The child was actually found dead in the house. Since then, many families, even Zambians in the diaspora, in Australia, in Belgium, in the USA, have reached out to me, sharing that they too knew of somebody in the family or a child, a sibling who was going through the same problem. And I'm sure many of us can actually relate. Recently, we heard in the media that over 10 people died in the southern province of Zambia after consuming a local brew, believe it or not, made from black shoe polish, methylated spirit, and other substances not fit for human consumption. But there's even another problem, and this is consumption of illicit spirits, commonly known as junta. And we refer, most of us, to these young men who find it very easy to access this junta as junkies. Government itself has confirmed that there's a serious alcohol abuse problem in Zambia. And today, my first guest is going to share his story. Welcome, Brian Chishimba.
Thank you, Dr. Dora.
It's a pleasure to have you on the program, and thank you for being so brave and deciding to come and share with us your own story.
Thank you, I'm humbled.
Yeah. Let me just ask you the first question. Are you alcoholic now? Are you suffering? Are you going through alcohol abuse now?
No, as we are speaking now, I am more than 8 years sober. Today, in fact, I'm 8 years, 1 month, and 25 days alcohol and drug sobriety.
Wow.
A final year student pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree in mental health and clinical psychiatry at Levi Mwanawasa.
Well done.
Also remarried.
Remarried.
Yeah, with 3 children.
Let's go back from the beginning. Tell me, where were you born?
I was born in Kabwe. Yeah, both my mother and father, before they died, they divorced.
Okay.
When I was about 6 years old.
And how many children were you?
My father, we were the 2 of us from my mother's side, but my father had other children. Yeah, so.
And between them, they didn't have children.
No, my father had 6 children. My mother had also 1. So when they got married, they had me.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay. And how old are you? Which year were you born?
I was born on 7th November 1985. Yeah. So in 1991, my parents divorced, and 8 months after that divorce, my mother died.
Oh, yeah. Very sad.
So I was brought up by my grandmother.
Where? In Kabwe still?
Just in Kabwe there. She's the one who enrolled me even to start my grade 1 at Kasanda Malombe Primary School, yeah, where I did my grade 1 up to 7, and I passed very well. Yeah, my grandmother had 6 children. 5 of them died in a space of, I think, 10 years. Only one is surviving. So all these 5 left children. So we were all being orphaned at my grandmother.
Your grandmother's house.
And we were 10 in total. The eldest among us also battled with alcohol and drug addiction. Unfortunately, he succumbed to it.
Where you went to secondary school in Kabwe?
After he passed very well, my grade 7, my uncle was staying here in Lusaka, picked me and brought me to Kablonga Boys, where I did my grade 8 and 9 at Kablonga Boys Secondary School. And I emerged as one of the best students. I got 512 marks and went to Hillcrest National Technical School in Livingston. Yeah, I was given a spot there. So grade 10 there in term 3, that's when I started drinking. And the first...
How did that happen? This was a boarding school?
Yeah, it's a boarding school. Yeah.
Was it peer pressure? How did it happen?
In fact, it was one of my friends who told me that I should start drinking. They bought some spirits, so they wanted to prove it.
At school?
Yes, at school, yes. So we were about 4 of us. So when they bought alcoholic 750 meals, it was a spirit. I didn't know. I know it, the name, but I can just mention it. And But so when I drank, I got so drunk that day that I was able to talk to everyone in school, even the girls I used to admire. So I would approach them and discuss with them. Yeah. So the next time I drank at Hillcrest was in after we closed, closing day of term 3. Then came back.
In grade 10, term 3.
In grade 10, term 3, yes. Then we came back in grade 11. Grade 11 again, I drank when we just opened. So
Now, let me get this clear. When you went back home after closing term 3, grade 10, did you drink alcohol at all while you were with your uncle?
No, I didn't.
At home,
I
no.
was also home, and I was looking forward again to drink when we opened, because I was looking for a safe space to drink, because my uncle knew that I was an academic genius, I was disciplined, so I couldn't show it to him. So I was waiting for an opportunity that when we go back, I'll drink. And in fact, when we opened for term 3, I drank on the way, reached in school, drank, went to go drink, came back again. When we got drunk in the bars, we came back to school, and we wanted to be given some food. So we went to the production unit prefect, who was then, we demanded to be given food, but he couldn't give us. So we started beating him, fighting with him, and he reported us. That's how I was suspended from Hillcrest. Only to report back in term 3. So when I reported...
What did your uncle say or do to you after the school suspended
I
you?
remember that day after he came to pick me from Hillcrest, he just cried. There was nothing he could... it was unbelievable. It was a shock for him. And I just saw his eyes turned red, and he started crying and saying... The words he just said is, "All my sisters are gone, and you are..." I was looking...
My hope was in
hope
you.
in you that you and me were going to work it out together. But why have you done this? Why have you started this? There's nothing he did. He just cried.
And what did you say to
I
that?
felt so bad. I took right and told him that this is my last time. I'll never do it. But because I had tested it, and peer pressure, of course, and the euphoria, I also loved. I loved it when I got
You
high.
loved the way it made you feel.
Yeah, it made me feel, yes. I just loved it. So
Would you say you were shy and you found out that once you drank, you had what is called Dutch courage, that you
Yes,
could
yes.
talk to girls and,
yes,
and adults?
yeah. That was what, in fact, what I was looking for. The courage to talk to people. Yeah. So, and in grade 10, 11, term 3, there was a riot. We caused a riot in school, and I was among the ringleaders. Again, in my drunken stupor, I was suspended from school. In fact, expelled. So I was only allowed to get back to school after the permanent secretary, by then, Minister of Education, gave an order that all those who have been suspended and expelled from Hillcrest get back to school. That's how I went back. Then in grade 12, I even now started going out of school, even engaging myself, even in sleeping with the sex workers. Yeah.
Now, while all this was happening, there were no other friends of yours that probably said, "Look, Brian, you have gone on a wrong path."
Yeah, they were there, a lot of them. A lot of them used to talk about that, and it was just something which I could not even comprehend or get it from them or get their advice, because I had now moved on the other side.
Were there any teachers? Did the school provide any sort of counseling, or did any adult in that school environment sit you down?
Yes, in fact, the wife to the head teacher, yeah, she really loved me, and she tried to guide me. She used to even pray for me. She used to counsel me. But unfortunately, I enjoyed the life I had started. So I didn't want to change, whereby now we even started going out of school, drinking cachasu. In fact, the first time I tasted the cachasu, the local brudauco, it was in grade 12. Yeah. By then, I even started smoking marijuana, such that when the time we were about to write our exams, on my 18th birthday, we went out and drank a lot of spirits, and I got so drunk that when I came back in school, I insulted everyone, including the head teacher. and I was taken to the police cells. That was the first time I spent a night in the police cells. Then from there, I came back and wrote my exams and passed very well. Then I ended my sport at Copperbelt University.
And
By
what were
then,
you going to study there?
I was doing a Bachelor of Science degree in forestry. Yeah, I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I wanted to do Bachelor of Science in mathematics, or I wanted to be a medical doctor, a mathematician, or an engineer.
So there you were at Hillcrest, drinking, smoking marijuana, and passing to go to university.
Yeah, yeah, and I passed. I got 12 points, 9 in 5. Went to CBU, and by then they even calling me Brown Bronx Bonarivex.
And that made you feel good.
Yeah, those were my names. So at CBU, when the exams came, because of we used to go to Chipata compound where we used to drink kachasu, what. So when the time came for us to write the exams, I was not ready. I only wrote mathematics, which I was good at. Then because of the shame, I was known as an academician, so I felt so bad. So I just opted to kill myself. Went on the first floor.
You wanted to commit suicide because you were so ashamed.
In fact, I threw myself. Like when you see these teeth, these are just dentures.
You went on top.
On top of at K1 in 2006. So I threw myself and hit myself. I wanted to die. So I sustained all broken teeth, front teeth, and I was unconscious for 3 days. I was rushed to Quito Central Hospital.
Well, when you were doing that, were you drunk?
Yes, I was drunk. I was drunk and I had nothing to lose. So I just felt like I think this is my time to die. So I survived, and that's how I stopped even my education. I went back to Kabwe. Kabwe, started stealing from my grandmother, drinking, until one day I found a stranger who encouraged me and talked to me and advised me to apply for a job in the government.
But before this, what did your grandmother say to you? You were stealing from her. You said even relish you were stealing
yes,
from
even
her.
reddish. I could steal anything from her. Chitenges,
To
money,
buy the marijuana.
to buy the marijuana
And kachasu.
and the kachasu and the tujiri by then. And my tujiri, those sachets,
The illicit
those
spirits.
which were banned by the minister. Yes. So those are the ones we used to drink.
And you said that in Livingston you had started sleeping with sex workers.
Yes, that was
and you continued.
I continued even in Kabwe. Yeah, it was just sex workers and in the same grade, the same in Kabwe, a stranger found me, told me to apply for a job. Then I applied for a job, and I was picked, and I was posted to Mansa. There,
What job?
as a clerical officer
In
the provincial administration.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was posted to Mansa, and I continued to abuse alcohol, drugs at my workplace. And I found a very good woman there without even informing my grandmother and my uncle. We started staying together and even got married. We got
Just the two of you
the two
and
of
her
us,
family.
yes, and we went to the court, got our marriage certificate, and we were married.
And how old were you at
I was
that
22
time?
years, and my wife was 21. So we had the first child. The first child died. We had the second child. The second child died. I continued also. Now my life of multiple partners, whilst I was married, and
Were you not afraid that maybe you might contract a disease? You were drinking, then you were going with sex workers. Were you not concerned, even at 22 years old?
I had lost hope in life, and I was thinking like my future there's nowhere I'm going. It was everything I was thinking about was just that I should just end my life and die. So after the same woman I was married to, when she saw that things were so bad, she filed for a divorce. So during that process, that was in 2012, because she could no longer stay with me. So I got so depressed, started absenting myself from work. And in 2013, I remember Honorable Saken. He was MP for Mansa. He died. So there was a by-election where Honorable Dr. Chitalo was standing on PF and the other candidate was on MMD. So myself, in my drunken stupor, after we drank Makachaso, I came and destroyed campaign materials
For
for MMD
okay.
in 2013. So it was on ZNBC, it was on all media houses, on Facebook, it was public. Everyone read, I think even you knew about it because they even talked about it in Parliament. Yeah, I saw a clip when they were discussing, look at
That this Brian Chishimba
Yes.
is unruly.
Unruly, yes. So I was taken to prison. I was in Mansa State Prison. I was remanded there for 2 months. That was in October 2013. But the candidate who stood on MMD ticket realized that I think he's a pastor, Pastor Malama Kapodia. Yeah. So he came and talked to the MMD secretariat here, pleaded with them that the young man, he was just drunk.
Okay.
That's how they wrote a letter to withdraw the case. And that's how I was acquitted under Section 201. So, and that's how I came out of prison.
But did you continue with work?
When I came out at my workplace, the suspension was lifted. I stopped going there, and the following month, the woman I was married to also were called for a case. Then eventually divorce was granted.
So you lost your job? You lost your wife?
Yes, and now I was remaining with a job. Also at my workplace, they also decided, say, he doesn't come for work. So they before they did anything, they fired me. They brought me to Chainama. So I was in Chainama Mental Hospital, College Hospital.
Your workplace are the ones that recommended for you to come to China?
Yes, they recommended that maybe I should be helped because I started exhibiting psychotic features and delusions.
But how did you actually come to China? Who brought you? You came by yourself?
No, they sent an ambulance from here, Lusaka. At my workplace here, they sent an ambulance government sent an ambulance to come and pick me from Mansa General Hospital because I was in a psychiatric unit there. Because of what I was doing. I was unruly, so they had to transfer me to UTH. Then UTH also said, take him to China.
This is a case for Chainama.
Yes. So
what was going through your mind? Like, I'm going to Chainama. Am I mad? Is that what you were thinking?
I used to also think like that. I'm going to Chainama. Am I just, what is wrong with me? So that's how I was taken to Chainama. And I was in Chainama for a period of 3 months. When I came out now, again, I started drinking.
While you were at Chainama in those 3 months, what was happening there?
I was put on treatment. I was given diazepam, thiamine, also on antipsychotics, risperidone. Yeah. So they were trying to see if I can reform. But unfortunately...
And that meant 3 months, no alcohol?
Yeah, that was the first time I stayed. In fact, no, I was smoking marijuana.
At Chainama?
Yes, I could cheat and let me just go to then I would talk to sometimes the buses which come, buses. I would talk to a bus conductor and say,
so you're on treatment, but you have access to
yes,
and that is normal at Chainama Hospital?
I'm not sure now, the mechanism, but for me,
you could access it.
I could come out.
And you're not the only one.
Until they found that I was drunk, one day when they saw that I was drunk, because I was in High Coast. In High Coast, there are no regulations. So when I reported back in the hospital drunk, so they took me now to Seaward, where I was under lock, in a seclusion, like a cells, where I was locked there for 2 weeks.
Did your family come to visit you?
Yes, they used to come and visit me. My uncle used to come and visit me, and also my grandmother and everyone. They wanted to see the best out of me. When I came out, I continued to drink, and when I came out on a Monday, on a Thursday I was taken back again. Then
between Monday and Thursday, you were in a drunken stupor.
I was just drinking, then taken back on a Thursday because I started exhibiting delusions and hearing people like were chasing me that had raped people. So they took me back there, and when I went there, the doctors, I stayed there for 2 months. Then when I was discharged, again I drank. The third time, doctor said, I think let's just recommend for his discharge. on medical grounds. So that's how they recommended, and I was eventually discharged from employment.
You lost your job.
I lost my job, and I went to the public pensions fund to go get my money, only to discover that I needed to save for 10 years in order to qualify for gratuity. So my discharge was just like someone who has been dismissed. I was only paid my own pension contribution. So that depressed me too.
Again.
So I lost my job, lost everything, and became a destitute. Now just started drinking junta. In fact, it is the junta which in my book, which I've highlighted, it's the one which even, because of it, I realized the need to change. So it was on 31st March 2016, I woke up in having hangovers, tremors.
Shaking.
So I went to drink.
So at school you had challenges because of alcohol. You even attempted to commit suicide. You lose your job, you lose your wife. You are now even in Chinama, and you are still not yet ready to say, this alcohol is just destroying my life.
I didn't reach at that point until on 31st March. This is the
Which
point.
year?
2016.
What happened?
I went to the bar, I had a hangover. So I found this young man who was like my chola boy. So I told
The
him,
woman was your chola boy.
a young man. He was like
okay.
my like those you can just go, come
You
here.
hang around.
Yes, those who used to fear me. So I told him, I've got a terrible hangover. Buy me this cheap beer. It was 4 kwacha.
The junta.
The junta, yes. Buy me. So he bought so that we drink, the two of us. So me, I got and drank
It was your first time to drink junta?
No. Junta was my lifestyle.
I see.
It was my lifestyle. It was that was the beer I could just drink, because these others, these spirits,
Are expensive.
they were expensive, yes. So that was the spirits I was drinking. So I drank it and finished the bottle. So the young man got so upset, such that after he was upset, he said, "Iwe chimdala, you finished my beer. No pusa iwe. How do you finish my beer like this?"
You're foolish, you
So
finished
that's
my
how
beer.
they threw me out of the bar. So I got so pain within me, and went home and said, I think that was the last beer I took, and I slept. And 1st April, the following day, my uncle was taking me, Mr. Kafupi, was taking care of me in Nibara. Woke up and said, "Brian, at your workplace, they've given you back your job with money. Go and get." They've just called me. So when I went there, only to be...
In Kasama, in Luapula province?
No.
Oh, that
Yeah,
time you had
yes,
been transferred to Lusaka.
Yes. So my uncle said, go to the office, they have a letter and your money. So me, when I woke up in the morning, I didn't even bath. I said, let me go get my money so that I go and show those who chased me now. Only to reach there, only to be told that it was April 1st Fool's Day. So
Your uncle played a joke on you.
So I started crying when I was going home. 1st April 2016, that was the beginning of my journey. It was difficult. I had to go back myself to Chinama to be now.
You took yourself.
I took myself now.
You started reflecting that something is wrong.
Yes, I needed, but now I was failing to stay sober. I had cravings, so I had to go to Chinama myself, and I was admitted in Chinama for 1 month. That's why they have even put an endorsement in this book. I was put there for 1 month, and I was treated, as we are speaking today. I'm 8 years, 1 month, and 24, today's 25 days.
We will get back to this. I'm speaking to Brian Chishimba here, surviving alcohol abuser, and he did write this book with a very powerful title, Triumph Over Alcohol and Drug Abuse. There are many people who can relate to Brian. Many families, as I've said before, have been calling me saying that they too know of somebody, a child, a sibling, somebody in the family who's an alcohol and drug abuser. We'll be right back after the break to hear more from Brian and how he has managed to survive 8 years alcohol-free. So we continue with Brian Chishimba, who's a survivor. It is important that you do rise above junta and say no to junta because, as you've heard from Brian, it can destroy your life. You wrote this book.
Yes.
Tell us the motivation. We know we've heard from your experience, but it takes an extra step to say, I'm going to write what I've been through.
Yeah, because I realized that to reach, it's good that I'm also in my final year pursuing mental health and clinical psychiatry, so I understand the process of change from the professional angle. So for a person to reach that point where I reached, most of them are in denial, which we call contemplating stage. So for a person to reach a point where I reached and realize that you need to change, I think a person must read this book, who's struggling. And this book is not only for alcohol and drug addicts, this is just for everyone. Because depression, because as a parent, as you are going through this, you may get depressed. People have got suicidal ideation. This book was just there to help somebody recover.
When you came out of China after committing yourself, what immediately happened? You went back to work, you immediately started writing the book, or you went to school?
No, when I came out of China, I committed myself to church because I wanted the help of the Jesus I used to refuse. So I said, maybe let me try this. That's how I went, and I was helped at church, and evangelical church in Zambia, and also Holy Ghost Arena, and also joined the Family Liberty Sober Home, where I was also helping people who are struggling with alcohol and drug addiction.
This is a rehabilitation center.
Yeah, now I started offering my story, and I started sharing my story on different platforms, even including where we are here. I came and also shared ZNBC. I was talking about my story. Then I also went to Bible school just to learn about the spiritual understanding. After I finished there, I now, in 2020, got married. I remarried now with a white wedding. When I was 4 years sober, I remarried, and together we are blessed with 2 children. And then I decided in 2021 to go back to school. Right now, as we are speaking, I'm a finalist student pursuing a degree.
Where?
At Levi Mwanawasa Medical University, because I remember that I was
Studying mental health.
I was a genius, so why can't I just...
Again, if we go back to going to Chainama, people always think it's just for mad people, not normal people. Nobody can go to Chainama and come back and be talking to me like you.
Yeah, no, Chainama is... that's why there's a lot of knowledge gap. Mental disorders, it's not only the madness, which is schizophrenia. There are a lot of mental disorders like depression, anxiety, there is bipolar, there is everyone, almost.
As we talk about the Rise Above Junta campaign and say no to junta, there are still many people that would say, you know, it might be easy for you, maybe you're one of a few who can get out of it. But there are many young people who are saying, I don't have a job, my family, we have problems. And they find the same comfort you are looking for in something like junta. What do you say to a young girl, a young boy who's listening to you now and saying, I can't rise above this?
In fact, when I attended, I was one of the speakers at the African Union Conference Summit. Where I shared my lived experience. So after I shared my lived experience, I also saw a presentation by Professor Goma, where they presented on illicit alcohol, where they highlighted that 71% of the alcohol abuse consumed in Zambia is illicit, illegal. Then I looked at the data from Chainama, where they were saying 56% of mental disorders attended to as a result of alcohol use. So this prompted me to even join the coalition.
Is alcohol abuse a disease? Because sometimes we just say, you know, that person, they're just indisciplined. They don't have manners.
No, it's
Is alcohol abuse a disease?
It's WHO defines substance use disorder as a chronic brain disorder which is relapsing in nature, characterized by compulsive drug seeking. That's a definition of addiction, meaning alcoholism, substance use disorder, is a chronic mental disorder. So it's a mental disorder. So meaning a disorder is a disease which is not in line with the normal physiology of a human functioning. So the brain has been affected. So it needs to, like the way we define psychology is the study of the mind. But we do not define it that way because you can't see what's in the mind. So you say psychology is the study of human behavior. So you can only know what is in the mind through the behavior. Yes. So
If a young person is listening to you now and they're saying, look, I hear the campaign, let's rise above junta, let's say no to junta, but in my situation, I can't see hope, and they're feeling as suicidal, as you actually did yourself, jumping off a building.
yeah.
Where can they go for help?
Yeah, so you need to seek counseling. One, Chinama, go to sober homes like Family Liberty, and you can also go to, even come and join us for as we are speaking. I'm a communication and advocacy officer for Coalition Against Illicit Alcohol. So you come and join us. We will help you. Like I personally counsel people.
For the Coalition Against Illicit Alcohol.
Alcohol use, yes.
Coalition Against Illicit.
Coalition Against Illicit Alcohol use, yes.
Okay.
So our approach is to bring people to good mental health, which mental health is defined according to WHO is wellness in your mind and also able to contribute positively and be productive. So our approach is to help people because some cannot manage to remain full sobriety like I am. So our approach is we are using the same scientific proven methods, at least of helping people remain in full sobriety, harm reduction, and also by all means avoid the illicit consumption because that is not tested. It is not allowed. It is the one which is causing damage, and the research has talked about it. Right now, I struggle with gases.
It's harmful to the body.
Meaning I'm 8 years sober, meaning the damage it caused to my GIT, gastrointestinal system. Even now, I'm still feeling it. And even the way, at one time, we visited some of these where they brew alcohol. I discovered that to blend 100% alcohol with water, it must take at least 48 hours. But you discover that these people, because of they've learned the art of distillation, so they just get 100% alcohol, mix it with water, and there immediately it's ready for consumption. That you are just drinking 100% alcohol, which is very, very dangerous for the human body.
And that's why now we say these junkies, but it's a disease, they need help.
Yes, they need help. It's a biopsychosocial. You need a biopsychosocial help.
But many mothers, after a program such as yours, have called me, and I'm sure I will call, to say, I have tried with my son. I have tried with my daughter. They keep stealing from us. They keep insulting us. We just don't know what to do. And maybe some of these places they can get help from. It's too expensive. So what do you say to a family like that, to a mother like that? Because I've seen mothers and fathers crying because of this junta problem.
The issue is I love my God. I believe that God exists. The issue is that all diseases, which maybe start from here going down, for example, BP, diabetes, you go to the hospital. But the disease to do with the brain, you always want to say it's demons. Yes, demons are there. But when the brain is affected, the physiology of the brain is not normal. You need to go to the hospital. So treatment of substance use disorder is always biopsychosocial. So you treat the body, you treat the psychological, and also the social aspect, the faith-based interventions. So you need to use a multifaceted and also understanding that what you're dealing with, it's a chronic illness.
Government banned to Giri. Should government ban junta production?
Yes, I think so. I think so because, in fact, junta it was already banned, so they are just selling it illegal. Even the cachaso, it's already, when you study the Liquor Licensing Act, they say even selling bars in home, selling alcohol in homes is not allowed. But you find alcohol. You should have a license. People are selling without license. Brewing alcohol. You need a license to brew alcohol. People are selling. And they don't even measure it. It's not nicely blended. So it's very harmful to all systems of the body, starting with the central nervous system, cardiovascular, respiratory, be it the urinary. It is damaging.
Has your family welcomed you back? Your uncle who was so disappointed in you?
Yeah, he's very, very happy. He's very happy. My family is so happy with me, and they love the way what I am doing and everything about my life. They are so just happy, even just hearing that I'm now talking about the same fighting, helping other people. They are so happy. In fact, when I was marrying, during the wedding, they supported me financially, everything, and here I am, I'm a family man.
Are you, maybe as we start coming to the close, are you in touch with those boys who brought you into this position from the very beginning at Hillcrest in grade 10? You look back and say, fate conspired for me to have met that boy. Or maybe it's not even those boys. You'd have done it anywhere else you'd have gone.
Yeah,
Was it family background that you were coming from a grandmother with 10 grandchildren, the pressure of living there? Did it play a role? Tell me about that.
Yeah, when I look from the positive angle, I appreciate that I became a drunkard, because had I not passed through this journey, there could not have been this story. The people are not going to find. I could not have written this book. So I appreciate quite as much as I have lost opportunities and other things, but there are things you cannot change. That's why living one day at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, gives me hope. So every day I stay sober is gain to me. I have treasured sobriety more than the price.
Have you been tempted, so tempted that you came so close?
Temptation can come, but I have treasured sobriety more than the price of diamond. So for me,
the feeling of being sober is what you like.
Yeah, for me, for example, I want to put this example. We went with doctors, friends of mine who are doctors and some engineers. We went at a bar. We started drinking. I was having a Coke. So in my mind, I was tempted, maybe. But I realized that these guys, they drink and they work. They are productive. Me, if I drink,
tomorrow there will be no
my
joke.
school, again, I will divorce. So God forbid. And I immediately told them, I think this is not safe ground for me.
Wow.
Because I was once like this. So I avoid such triggers.
Brian, you are a true inspiration.
Thank you very
much.
much.
This really shows that it's not where you begin, but where you end.
Thank
and I think your story is extremely touching for a young person. I think you're just 35 or so.
Yeah, 38.
38, for a young person to have gone through all this already and feel convinced that my life is worth sharing the things I've been through. I think it's truly inspirational. 8 years, 1 month, and
25 days.
125 days. Well done. Well done. And I hope that the many people who've listened to you can see hope that it is possible to do a whole turnaround.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming to the podcast today. Well, once again, the mantra is rise above junta and say no to junta. So many illicit spirits on the market. It is important that if you're a young person listening to this program and you're going through this same problem, there is help out there, and Chainama is the first place to stop. It is possible to do a turnaround. Please don't destroy your life because of alcohol or drug abuse. There are organizations such as the Coalition Against Illicit Alcohol. They need our support, all of us. If you know someone who is struggling with alcohol and drug abuse, please don't ignore it. You need to be able to advise on where they can go to help. But what is important is that we must all rise above junta and say no to junta. Thank you so much for watching today's podcast.